Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warriors. And yes, we are riding on the back of a massive Warriors win, our best performance of the season. I'm still excited. You probably hear it in my voice. I'm still excited. Richard, my co-host, are you still excited about what's going on with the Warriors at the moment? Because honestly, that was the best performance I have seen the Warriors play in a long time.
Crazy, bro. Honestly, I was just trying to think about. We've talked so much about polished performance week in, week out. We've been getting the two
Yeah.
points. It's good to see, but to see that attack really light up, for what seemed like one of the first times this season. It's exciting time. So the group chat started up with a few of the boys, and there's some serious considerations about these buying some flights to Sydney in October because it's the signs are looking good this far through the
They
season.
are. They are looking good. They are looking good. Normally, when we start this, I start the start of an episode, we'll talk about how you're going. So, but I'm just so excited. I'm so pumped from this because honestly, like I am not exaggerating when I say this is the first time I've seen the Warriors play such a all-round game in a long time. And when I say all-round game, I'm talking about a combination of defense and attack and just good thinking. Just good thinking, the way they play, went about their game. Warriors are renowned for being a team that, in the past they would throw the ball around a bit, and hopefully they'll score some flashy tries on the back of maybe some hope, of those throwing those balls around, and then also also no one renowned for being a team that will lose their way a bit, even if they've got in tight games. But we've seen a total contrast to that in the games that the Warriors have been playing this year. And this game for me was awesome because not only were the Warriors okay, they had a strong start in the first half. Got to 12-10. The Cronulla, they came back and got it to him within 2 points. But then the second half, we just absolutely dominated them. And not only did we dominate in defense, but it was our attack was just on point. Everything was on point. Like I loved the short balls and the ball runners running through. And if it wasn't a ball, if it wasn't one of them running through, it would go out the back, and it was just causing confusion for the Cronulla defense. And it was awesome to see that we were doing that, and we are making a lot of meters. We didn't spend as much time in the red zone as they did in our red zone. But whenever we were in their red zone, we know we were making things happen, which is really really promising and refreshing to see. And the fact that also Cronulla, who were fifth on the table at the time, our red zone weren't able to score. They just weren't able to break through our defense, which is awesome because, I mean, this game we had Wade Egan out with a hip injury. We had Rocco Berry out with a hamstring niggle. I mean, that guy just can't catch a break. We've said it so many times, but I don't know what's happening with Rocco. He's still a young guy, so it's not like his body's deteriorating or anything like that. But it's just I feel sorry for the guy. I don't know what's going on. Might have to send him a text or something and ask him what's going on just to see how he's feeling. Last time I spoke to him was a few years ago. I did an article on him about 4 or 5 years ago. But yeah, it's the last time I spoke to him. But yeah, and then you got Mitch Barnett, as we know, out for the season. But it was just an amazing performance, and I want to talk about the guys' performances specifically of specific players. But before we do that, we'll go a little bit deeper into there. What did you love about this game so much about the Warriors? How the way they played and how they took it to the Sharks.
Yeah, bro, you've sort of alluded to a bit of it, but it was just really nice to see the attack sort of flowing. Obviously, both the halves, Metcalf and Harris Devita, they both
Yeah,
had brilliant games. I thought it's probably the best, close to the best we've seen from both of them. I thought Harris Devita in particular, like a real standout game for him. He had a couple of try assists from those bombs he does. They don't
yeah,
look that pretty with off the foot, but it just shows when you got guys chasing it up. Like Harris Devita, he chased one of them up himself, and
yeah,
then for Pompey, and then the other one. Lika Halasima came from absolutely nowhere, and it's just, I mean, it's lovely to have a second rower who can do that. I've talked about it in the
yeah,
past, but you look, got the likes of sort of Jeremiah Nanai at the Cowboys, you got Ali Katoa at the
yeah,
Storm, these second rowers who, you can put a bomb up for there, and they've got a bit of height, athleticism, and he just keeps showing that. So, it was just yeah, so much love. So yeah, so shout out to Harris Devita, and picked up a couple of late tries as well. Nico Hines sort of
yeah,
handed him one on a plate a little bit, but he still had
yeah,
to run 90 meters, so it's good to see. But honestly, yeah, just brilliant to see both sides, both attack and defense. I think at the end of that first half, the Sharks were rolling downhill. Like they had all the momentum. It was an
yeah,
absolute huge play from Chance, basically right on the hooter, to
yeah,
stop Hamlin Uele from scoring. And if he had
yeah,
scored, we would have gone into half time down. And that second half could have been a lot different. So just like plays like that just show sort of where this team is. Everyone's stepping up, doing their job. Um, the young boys, they just like
Yeah,
another one of them seems to be stepping up each week. I just I loved everything I saw from the team, and it was the most complete performance. I think we've seen a few. I think we saw signs of it last week against the Rabbitohs.
yeah,
The attack looked a lot better than it had been the last few weeks.
yeah,
We were struggling to score more than sort of 16, 18 points. We scored
yeah,
about 36 points in that game maybe, but the defence, we were leading in tries there. This one, we just shut them off in that second half. We flicked the switch,
yeah,
and till quite late in the game, there was a few chances that the Sharks had, and they could have scored some tries while we were up by 30. But we still, Rog made a big play to, sort of better kick out. And I think Chance had a big tackle on Sione Katoa as well. So
yeah.
to have that mentality to not be letting tries in, even when you're up by 30 points, it just shows that the team's in a great position. So I think that game was what we've been waiting to see.
Yeah.
And there was just a lot to like about that.
Yeah, it's obviously if you're a supporter, you can see that we've been winning our matches on the back of our defense. We've been putting some early points on, but then from there it's basically just defending the team that are coming back. That's the way the whole season's been panning out, and I'm pretty sure we know if we could see it, I'm sure they could see it as well, and every other fan could see it that we needed to do something about our attack, and you could just see that with our points differential going into this game. We're on +5. After 13 rounds, that's not really good enough, especially for a top 4 team. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know we're winning and we're up there, so I'm happy about that. But that points differential, especially in a tight comp, and we all know it's a tight comp this year, that is a crucial element to the ladder. So something needed to improve there, and the Warriors realized as well that they needed to step up, a little bit in attack, and it was just good to see. You can see that they've done something. They've just said, okay, let's do this, and led by Luke Metcalf, he's having a blinder, isn't he? He's having a blinder of a season so far, and he made that tackle break, that passed into I think it was Valmonga who scored that try. Was it Valmonga or was it
Yeah,
Helis
yeah.
Valmonga? Yeah, it was just I think they got the same haircuts, and sometimes you can get mixed up there. But nah, that was just seeing him the way he's running the ball, and in his managing the side, directing the side. Remember we talked about at the start of the season, we were saying that he needs to combine this. At the moment, we thought that his focus was on managing the side, that it was neglecting his attacking side of things. But I think he's actually got it right now, and he's actually getting it all together. And yeah, it's amazing. It's just amazing to see him just doing that, just putting, because once he's managing and attacking and defending, he's unstoppable at the moment, and that's what's happening. That's why he's at the top of the Dalian middle list at the moment. So yeah, it was just an amazing game. It wasn't just I was just excited because we won the game. It's how we won the game. It's why I was so excited. And I think every Warriors fan will say the same thing. They'll just tell you that's the way they went about it, and the mentality. And when you go look at Australian media, for example, you go to Australian media, whether it's TV, radio, or news or print, it doesn't really matter. When you see all the headlines and all the talking about the Warriors saying they're the real deal, they're contenders, when you actually hear Australian media say all that sort of stuff, something's going right, something's going well within the Warriors. And I don't believe in jinxing all that sort of stuff, so it doesn't really matter. But it's long may it last. And I just wanted to quickly bring something up with you. I remember before the season started, or maybe it was before the season started, or just a little after, I told you that last year we had a bad season because I said it's our year, and I said I wouldn't do it this year. So I'm just gonna claim the fact that I haven't said it's our year. That's the reason why we're going so well. I know that's a lot of crap, but anyway, I'm just gonna claim it anyway. But yeah, but no,
I'll
also,
claim it because I've said it every week that
yep, yep.
we're going to the grand final. So somewhere in
Fair
between the
enough.
two of us.
Yeah. Well, we can both claim it, and it doesn't matter. The win's a win, right? Win-win. But
I mean,
in this game, mate, there was a lot of hype and talk around the matchup between Adam Fanua-Blake and James Fisher-Harris. But to be honest with you, mate, where was Adam Fanua-Blake? I mean, I loved it. I think he's an amazing player. Loved him at the Warriors and stuff. So gutted, just like everyone else was when he left. But he he went missing in that game. Like he was hardly seen. And when he got the ball, he didn't make the impact that he normally does. He's the player that actually gets the ball, runs it, makes a lot of post contact meters, puts his team on the front foot. But that didn't happen in this game. He was totally outnumbered by not just FisherHarris, but by the other forwards, Jackson Ford even. So yeah, that matchup wasn't as hyped up. Didn't work out to be as hyped as it was supposed to be in that game. But yeah, Adam Fanor Blake. What do you think about the whole Adam Fanor Blake James FisherHarris thing?
Yeah, bro. Like I've sort of thought the same. I think he just seemed to be sort of play off the park a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, you hardly even sort of noticed he was there. And I'd had a
yeah,
few beers during the game, and I went out to the public and asked, if he wanted to come back on compassionate grounds, would we take him? And there was a very strong, no way. There's no place for him at the moment. And
yeah,
I mean, you'd still have to consider it because he's obviously a good player. But it's just whether he'd fit in the setup we've got at the moment with all these young fellas. Like his departure has just meant the likes of sort of Jackson Ford, I know Core's, he's sort of looking back to his best.
yeah,
Valmoga, Helis, Laban, these boys are all just they're putting their hands up week in, week out, and yeah, consistency. So yeah, I mean, he definitely the way that the Warriors are set up at the moment, like it'd be you don't know where you'd put. I'm sure we'd be able to find a spot for him, especially with Barnett out. I'm sure we wouldn't mind having him started in the front row. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, if you told me at the start of the season, if I'd asked that question halfway through the season, and probably about 80% of Warriors fans would say, like, quite aggressively say, hell no. I would have been very surprised. But that's just,
yeah,
where the team is, where the team is at the moment, the club is. They've sort of got over that spot. They've moved on very quickly, and I think from watching that game, the Warriors fans around the country, around the world, wouldn't have been too disappointed about the sort of departure of AFB. And FisherHarris is a funny one because I think it's obviously just his presence, like
yeah,
because you look at the stats and all that, he doesn't dominate the stats. It's awesome to see him score that try, and it was awesome to see some emotion from him because you don't see him smile that often. He's a serious bloke, but it was beautiful just to see him, Valmoga, put him through that hole, and you don't often see a front rower go over that easily. But he
yeah,
would take it. But it was cool to see that. But yeah, I think it's just FisherHarris's presence on that field is obviously you can just see that it's worn off. The professionalism is worn off. Olden likes these guys I was talking about before. So we've got a couple more years of that, and it's scary to think sort of like how far the likes of your Halasimas and your Labans and your Valmogas could go if we're continuing like. A couple of them are signed till 2029, so that's huge.
yeah,
You don't see that much from 19, 20-year-olds these days. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I'm loving that FisherHarris being there, especially good timing to come back just as Barnett's out. And I think behind the scenes, I'm sure Barnett's doing a lot as well. I can imagine he's
yeah.
really involved off the field. And yeah, like Webster will be utilizing the sort of the leadership of both those co-captains.
Yeah, no, I mean, Barnett. I mean, he may be out for the season, but he's still he's still a co-captain. That doesn't change, right? He's still got this, the captain's armband around him, so he'll be there. He'll be still, directing, putting in the thoughts, etc. Putting in the words in there. So he'll still be doing that. I'm pretty sure anyway. But going back to talking about that try from James FisherHarris, the try kind of was kind of like mirrored what Adam Fanor Blake normally does. He's
Yeah,
usually the guy that gets the ball and runs through. It was
yeah.
kind of funny that way. So Adam Fanor Blake, when Adam Fanor Blake scores tries, it's usually in that kind of manner, where
Mm.
a short ball he'll just run through and the defense doesn't lay a hand or they just can't stop him anyway, and he just goes through unfazed and just puts the ball down. That was the funny thing about it. But yeah, no, James FisherHarris. I think it was Webster that said that whenever he enters the room, everyone just stops and listens to him. They take him seriously, and he has a presence about him. And yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, we may not be there, but I think everyone knows that when James FisherHarris enters the room, something changes. And I think a lot of the mindset has changed because of his his input. He's come from a team that's just won four premierships on the trot. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing, and he's the Kiwis captain as well. So, no, I still think Aaron Clark is probably the buy of the season. Maybe not just for the Warriors, but maybe in the NRL in general. But having FisherHarris there is not only we have got a great front row forward in our ranks there, but we've also got a great leader, which is probably what we needed. We had Barney, and Barney's a great leader as well, but having them both there, there's just this big advantage to us. So yeah, going back to that, I saw your post and I saw it and I cracked up laughing when I saw it, and I just saw the comments. I saw the comments on it saying, yeah, well, no way, no way, no way. But there were some people that said yes, they would take him back in a heartbeat. But yeah, there were a lot of no ways. I honestly wouldn't take him back because, honestly, and I'll say it on the back of one of the answers that you gave to someone on social media. I'm not sure what page it was, but if it was Warriors Uncut or New Zealand Warriors Till I Die, I can't remember which one it said. But you said that him not being there has made it easier for the rotation of the bench. Is that what you said? Is that you said something along those lines? Do you want to elaborate on that? Because I thought that was a good answer.
Yeah, it was sort of what I alluded to before. Is that his departure has sort of just meant that the balance is right in the forward rotation.
Yep.
We've seen what it's sort of unleashed in Jackson Ford, and even Jackson Ford, for example, he was named to start. He was
Yep.
put onto the bench last week. Nokore went into the front row. Laban stepped up. Started, I think, only his second game in the front row with Halasima. So we had
Yep.
a really sort of disjointed forward pack, but the way the rotation is at the moment, everyone knows their role. Um, if they have to do something else, they'll just do it. They won't ask questions. And we sort of saw that, and it's good to see Nokore. I mean, he's a guy at the start of the season that both of us were sort of we were saying, oh, he wasn't great last year. How long are we going to persist with him? But there's no way I'd be getting rid of him now. Like he brings that energy every
Yeah.
week, and he brings that power. So yeah, I think it's just about the sort of the balance of the forwards, the forward rotation, and his departure has sort of allowed these other guys to come in and step up, and
Yeah.
we're just seeing every week we're seeing an improvement. And even like I'm not sort of unrelated, but like you've got Capewell who's played a couple of games down the centres, and he's almost looking like one of our best centres at the moment. Like I was against the move originally, but he every time he goes out there, he does the role and plays it brilliantly. So it's just, yeah, I mean, yeah, the team's in a really good spot. The club's in a really good spot. You look at the New South Wales Cup; they're absolutely dominating there. We've got a couple of guys who I'm sure if they do or when they get a chance, they're gonna relish the opportunity as well. So, yeah, I think that was probably what I was alluding to. But I had a few beers at that point, so
No, yeah, nothing like a drunken post, right, on social media
yeah.
to get everyone going. But well said, mate. And honestly, just I know this is not Warriors related, but let's talk about quickly just a minute or two about the Sharks, because before this game started, I actually took screenshots of this of like not a lot of social media platforms, whether it's the Fox League or Nine League, or was it what's it called? League or something or nine, I can't remember. But all these different platforms they had their tips and they had their experts, experts being former players, etc., and journalists, etc., giving their tips in. And honestly, there was only like literally one or two that picked the Warriors. Everyone was just thinking Sharks, Sharks, Sharks. I think honestly there are a lot of people out there that were just waiting for the Warriors to crack. They're thinking like, oh yeah, they've had a long streak of wins. Surely they're going to crack at some point. Well, we didn't crack. We actually, if anything, we exploded into something even bigger and better. And and the Sharks were fifth at the time, and they're not a bad team. I know that the week before they got beaten pretty well. I can't remember who beat them. It was a 40-point game as
The
well.
Roosters.
That's right, the Roosters. Yes.
Yeah,
So
and I think it
yeah,
was the Roosters without their Origin players as well. So,
yeah.
yeah, it wasn't a great look for the Sharks.
No, it wasn't. And like, no, like they're a team full of great players there, but it just shows and on this show, I've given a bit of stick to Nikki Hines. Don't There's nothing personal or anything. I just don't think he's the greatest player out there. But I just think that I don't know. It's easy to say this now because it's been a few seasons there, but going to Cronulla probably wasn't the greatest thing for him. He's doing really well at Melbourne. I understand why he left, but
Yeah,
he hasn't really he hasn't really like lifted up to that level that we all thought that he was going to. And he's their playmaker and stuff. And he's don't get me wrong, he's a great player, he's a great individual player, but I don't think it's really working for him at the Sharks. And I just think that yeah, no, he looked lost as well. I mean, basically the whole team did. As soon as the Warriors got their momentum in the second half and was just pushing them back, I just think that yeah, he was lost. He needed to step up for his team and do something there, and against a team that's actually pushing them back. But he was lost, and gotta feel sorry for the bloke. He was a state of origin at one point. He was because that's how good he was, and then I just think this his time at halfback at Cronulla has just not worked out for him. I don't know if going to another team would change that or not, or maybe going to fullback because he was more used as a utility, right, at Melbourne. That was the whole point of him leaving Melbourne because he was never going to get past Jerome Hughes, Cameron Munster, or Pappenheisen. So he was never going to get past those guys. So I understand why he left, but I just don't think the move has worked for his form and mentality as well. It just looks like he's lost. What are your thoughts on that, on Nikki Hines and the Sharks in general?
yeah. Well, I think him and Trindle were definitely the more touted halves pairing of the two in that match, and Metcalf and Harris Devita just played them off the field, eh? Yeah, I mean, I alluded to it before, but yeah, Hines with that intercept, Harris Devita. It was quite late in the game, and I think it was the last try we scored. So yeah, we were up by 24 at the time, but he just basically handed the ball to Harris Tavita there. I think he's a real he is a real confidence player, and I mean you do kind of feel sorry for him because
Yep.
like he's obviously talented, and when he's on he's really good, but I think like just mentally he's just not he's missing that sort of nth degree that a lot of these sort of your Clearys and
Yeah.
your Jerome Hugheses and your sort of Sean Johnson in his day and some of the real premier sort of halfbacks, they've got that sort of mental thing. And I mean, you feel bad because he probably, like he's probably getting stick on social media for it. Like I think the Sharks are probably a pretty proud fan base, So
Yeah.
um, you hope that they're not, not giving it to him too much. And yeah, but he was. I mean, he's played Origin and he's won premierships. I mean, I think he won a
Yep.
premiership and didn't even play in the game. He played the 14 jersey and the Storm didn't need him one year in
Yeah.
the final, but he was a big part of them being there.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know whether going to another club's going to fix it or not, but yeah, I mean that Sharks team, they're a good team, and they were one of the like we've been winning games, but we haven't sort of been beating. A lot of them have been against teams that maybe aren't in the top eight, whatever. But that Sharks team they were right up there at the start of the season. I think I definitely had them in my top 4 or 5. I think from memory,
Yep.
you had definitely had them in the eight at least.
Yeah.
Um, they got some really good, they got Fanua Blake, they got Hammond ULA, they got heaps of internationals,
Yep.
Bridget Nakora,
Iro. Yep.
yeah, KO Aro, he's one of the best centers in the game at the moment, I reckon. So
Yeah.
yeah, plenty of talent in that team, and but they're obviously in a bit of trouble at the moment, having coming off two big
Big losses. Yeah.
losses at home as well. I'm just
Yep.
trying to think whether the Sharks games at home, but we've now got a good record against them at home. So the last 3 times we've played them, one was that game where we came back from like 20-0. Sean Johnson kicked I think penalty from about 40 metres out, and then Nico Hines had a penalty to try to draw it right on Hart full
Yeah.
time. And then last year we had another big comeback there, Sean
Yep.
Johnson's last game, and then obviously this. So Shark Park, a happy hunting ground for the Warriors. And I don't know if you heard the commentary saying, but it's the first time I think since 1995 that we've won 5 games in a row in New South Wales.
Yep.
So
I heard that.
that's no mean feat, for a team who
30 years.
traditionally haven't been great travelling. Like often we'll be good at home, but as soon as we hit the road, it becomes a lot harder. Like the amount of Ks that the Warriors generally travel compared to other teams is about 2 times as much. So to get 5 wins on the road against New South Wales teams, I'm trying to think what they would have been. Obviously, the last 2 games, the Tigers, maybe the Sharks game last year, and then maybe there's another one this year. I can't actually think, but yeah. So yeah. Sorry, Sharks fans, but we might now be your bogey team. We might finally have a team that we're their bogey team after many years of
Yeah.
telling ourselves we're the Storm's bogey team when we're really not anymore.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the Sharks, they are, they were considered contenders, I guess. They've been considered contenders from the start. I mean, they haven't shown enough to be, maybe premiership contenders, but obviously within the top eight at least, and possible top four. But then, again, let me go back to what I was saying about all the people just tipping them because they were expecting the Warriors to finally crack and going on about saying, oh, they've played some of these teams, but they haven't played it. But you know what? I'm glad they all said that, and I'm glad they all tipped against us because not only did we prove them wrong, we proved them wrong in a big way. It was a polished performance. It wasn't just a win. It was a exhilarating win. It was just an amazing win, and it was just clever footy all round. Defense, attack, just clever footy all round. The way they went about it was just magical, and I think that's what makes the game more. That game was more special is the way they went about the win. So awesome, awesome. Let's just quickly go into one more thing about the game. Well, as we mentioned before, there's a lot of injuries, but a lot of young fellas have stepped up this season. One of them who stepped up for the first time is in terms of debut, in terms of starting debut, Sam Healey. I think that was his starting debut. I think he's played before. He played one first grade game, but he came off the bench. Um, yeah, so Sam Healey actually has strong ties to Cronulla because of his dad, Mitch Healey, who played for Cronulla. He was a fan favorite star there, but I thought he was
Had
I thought he was pretty good.
220 odd games, I think. I heard
Yeah,
someone say instead
yeah,
did.
exactly. Exactly. So, what I'm trying to say is that he was playing in front of a crowd that I'm pretty sure growing up he would probably want to be playing in front of in the Sharks jersey. I think he did for a little while in the lower grades like reserve grade. I think he played for Newtown Jets last year, but prior to that he was in Cronulla. But yeah, he was playing against he gives me a bit of a home club in a way, such a thing. But the way he went about it, I thought he was amazing. And I actually, prior to when as soon as I heard that Wading was out, I wasn't concerned. Like I mean, yeah, we want Wading in there. He's the man. But putting Sam Healy directly in there, wasn't concerned. I just had the confidence that he was going to do the job and do it well. And what were your thoughts on Sam Healy?
Yeah, it was a great game. I would have liked to see him play more minutes, actually. I think he only played
Yeah,
about 45, 50 maybe. And
yeah,
like I get it, obviously like Tamara Martin's there and they want to make sure that they're sort of utilising him, his utility. But yeah, I was surprised that I think in the second half I would have thought they would have brought him on earlier. But like yeah, love what I saw from him. He looks hungry, Every time he's sort of there, he's not afraid to have a wee dart from dummy half, um, and a really clean distributor of the ball as well. Like he seems like definitely a talent we want to hold on to. Yeah, so
yep,
yeah, I love the irony of him sort of coming up against Cronulla. Luke Metcalf's obviously Cronulla junior as well. So there
yep.
must be a few, like must have been a few Cronulla fans in the crowd, like being like, oh God, what we could have had. You could have had, Luke Metcalf over Nikki Hines, but that's the decision. That's the decision that someone in the Cronulla management's made a few years ago, and the Warriors are this year reaping the benefits of it.
Yep.
But yeah,
Usually it's
no,
the
I
other way
love.
around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I
Yeah,
think the last time we saw Healy was just I think it was that Cowboys game, and he came on. I think it was
yeah,
Cowboys or Dragons maybe, and he came on for 10 minutes, but just brought some amazing energy. So
yep.
it's cool to see him get a start. Obviously brought in I think about midday on. I felt like I
Just a
kind
couple
of
of hours, I
hadn't
think,
been
before the
hadn't
game.
been
Yeah,
yeah I hadn't been on social media all day, and I went to go like 10 minutes for the game. I saw that he was playing, so um, and yeah, I mean, plenty more of the young fellows stepped up as well. Laban had his second start,
take well.
and then obviously Leka Valmolga was mammoth off the bench. I think that's probably the best we've seen of him in a Warriors jersey.
Yeah,
And yeah, I know there's a really good balance of the future is very exciting when you see the likes of these guys stepping up, especially off like short notice. Both sort of like Laban and Healy weren't expected to start, and for them to sort of and the way that we started the game, we were up 10-0 pretty early in the game, after 20 minutes or something like that. So
Yeah.
they don't seem afraid of the challenge. They just seem up to the challenge and ready to sort of give their all. It's awesome to
Yeah,
see.
no, I'm loving the injection of these young guys into the side. I'm loving the fact that Webster's giving them has a lot of faith in them. Some of them are 19. Not can't remember the exact ages, but they're in the 19 to 21 age range, and they're just stepping in and they're not only showing their talent. They're obviously immensely talented players, but it's the mindset. I did a video on the weekend. I don't know if you saw it. About the young guys, but it's just that it's their mindset, Sorry, that is really 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 is what got is impressing me. It's their talent mixed with their mindset. They're not trying to do anything too stupid. They're not trying to say I'm young, I can do this, I can do. Watch me, I'll do all this. They're not trying to just pull out all these things. They're just playing a good game, playing some good footy, some really good footy. Like you said, Halasima in the air. Not only is he's tackling well, defending well, he's attacking well. His ability to get high above the defender, in the end zone there and scores, you know, it's a weapon. He's a weapon. He's a bloody weapon, and kick more, do more up and unders to him there because there's a good chance that he's going to come away with the ball. It's not the first up and under that he's contested. It's not the first one that he's contested and scored. He's done a couple of them already this season. So why not use them even more? And I haven't seen Valmanga do that, but he's doing his thing in a different way. He's getting up he's taking the big meters. His defense is great, and he's awesome. His awesome support play as well when he scored that try from when Luke Metcalf made that break. He's there in support as well. He's got this. Yeah, exactly.
Speed.
Fast.
Yeah.
So in Helisima, we saw what that try did. He scored when he was on the wing. I can't remember who it was against, but it was
The
where he
Tigers,
just
yeah.
yeah, when he scored that try. So we know he's got pace as well. And like you said, the future for the Warriors is looking bright. And I love the fact that the Warriors have nailed them down for many years. And hopefully it sticks, it stays. It's set in stone because we all know sometimes contracts don't mean anything in the NRL. But hopefully that's the way it is and it stays that way. Jacob Laban, Valmonga, Halasima, Sam Healey. I don't know how much longer Wade Egan will last. I don't know. I still think he's got a few seasons still left in him, but hopefully Sam Healey will stick around as well because he's definitely someone that we could use. All these young boys are doing their part, and I'm just impressed by their ability, their not only their natural footy ability, attack, defense, but their mindset, the way they're going about it, and I do believe that Barnett and FisherHarris have had a lot to do with that in terms of implementing all that into the young guys. So no, again, the future is looking bright for the Warriors. It's awesome to see, and again, we say it all the time, but I'm going to say it again. Long may it last because it's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. But anyway, mate, let's just move on from that. Let's move on to your segment, mate. The Wally M's.
Yeah, bro, for sure. So for those who don't know, we've got our Wally M's, which is our equivalent of the Jelly M's, but we just give it for Warriors games. We've gone behind closed doors, as the Jelly M's have. So I I haven't actually updated the scores, but I think Aaron Clark's still winning, just FYI. But
Yeah,
I really struggled this week, bro. There's just so
me
many
too.
players who deserve points. Honestly, I had about 8 players written down who I could have given some points to. So I kind of tried to just mix it up and give it to some faces we mightn't have seen as much of.
Yeah.
So I gave my 3 to Valmoga, actually.
Oh,
I loved what I saw from him, man. It was just awesome to see off the bench. Brought so much energy. Yeah, great try from support play, an awesome try assist. So he's sort of just showing some skills all over the field. Only played 40 minutes, but it felt like he played a lot more.
yeah,
And 11 runs and 106 meters, 21 tackles. Yeah, so some real good stats off 40 minutes. But it was just, yeah, that second half he really came to his own, and it was the best we've seen from him
yeah,
in a Wires jersey. So
yeah,
loved that. Two to it was basically out of Harris, Devita, and Metcalf. I gave it to Harris Devita this time with 2 tries, two
yeah,
tries, this 150 running meters obviously, a 90-meter intercept helps your running meters, but we'll take that. And 23 tackles, I thought, yeah, I mean, I think we're talking about his offense in this game, but I mean, week in, week out, he's so good on defense. 23 tackles on the
Yeah,
weekend and some big ones. Um, but just cool to see him. He looks really happy to be there. And I thought that was the best we've seen of him this season. So long may that
yeah.
last. And CNK, another 1 point for him. He obviously picked up the 6 points last week. But yeah, another backed up that performance with another huge performance. 242 meters, 6 tackle breaks. That try saver on half time, and then he had another try
Oh,
saver
brilliant.
as well, and then he had a line break really early in the first half. Could have even been the first set of the second half, sorry, which led to I think it was by Maiga's try. So yeah, just I mean, we've both sort of been like, oh, do we need to get Tuapiki in there? But I mean, the way Chance is playing, he's you can't question his spot there. And maybe if we
Yeah.
get Tuapiki in there, maybe we can get him on the wing if Dallin keeps sort of not being as good as we know he can be. But that's my 3-2-1, bro. Who you got for us?
Yeah, no, I'm the same with you, mate. I had really struggled to figure out who I give my points to because they all deserved, a shout out. Like you look at the likes of Pompey, for example. Pompey had a great game as well. He probably, wasn't a standout compared to the other players, but he had an immense game. Like he scored a try. Also, in defence, he made that big tackle. I can't remember who he did it on, but he made a big tackle as well. I thought he was pretty good. CNK, like you were just saying, I've always been a fan of Tuapiki, but and they play different kind of games, don't they? Tuapiki and Chance, but Chance has a more of a workload mentality, but he just keeps on making the line breaks. Tackle breaks as well, and also just keeps them making just storming out the field and giving our forwards a break. He just takes a big load on for them. So it's just I found it really hard, But I had similar I was similar to you. I had actually Valmonga at 3 as well. I had 3 points for Valmonga.
Nice.
We've been getting a lot very very similar scores here, but same reasons. I just thought like you said, you only played 40 meters, but it looked like he played a lot more than that because his presence was really was his presence was there, and you just he was just doing his thing and in attack and defense, and he scored that awesome try. Like I was alluding to before, the support play he was playing, with Metcalf made the break. He was there to carry on, had the pace to go through as well. So, yep, 3 points. 2 points for Jackson Ford. I thought Jackson Ford had a really great game. I thought he was brilliant, and again, as we say most weeks when we talk about Jackson Ford, it's not he doesn't do anything flashy or anything. He just does the job. He has a role. He's been given responsibilities. It's like saying these are your tasks. Go do them, and he just does them well. He's not the biggest front row forward, but he continues to make post contact meters pretty well. He's getting through his tackles. It's not like he's been hit back or anything. So he's doing his job well, and he did a great job of filling Barney's boots there. Even though he didn't start. But so 2 points for there, and I had 1 point for Harris Devita. I admit that throughout the season I haven't been like I'm a fan of Harris Devita, but I've just always thought that maybe there's someone cough cough Tanner Boyd that could probably be there rather than Harris Devita because of he's got more what's the word, more experience, but more also just more. He has more, tools,
A more
equipment,
natural
tools to
heart.
use. Yeah, more tools to use in terms of his kicking game, etc., and things like that. But he was great. He was great. I thought he was brilliant on against the Sharks, and when he scored that try when he ran 90 meters, I actually thought he wasn't going to make it for a second. It looked like he was about to break
He was
down.
gassed.
Did you notice that? Did you
He was
notice that?
gassed,
Look,
bro.
I honestly
Yeah.
thought that he was going to get caught because it looked like he was in agony towards the end of it. And when he actually put the ball down, he couldn't get back up for a bit because
Yeah.
it looked like he was in agony. But he got there. But yeah, no, good on 2 tries on the night, and yeah, I just thought he had a brilliant game, and so he'll take my 1 point. So yes, very different names, except for Jackson Ford is usually quite a regular in our Wally M's, but yeah, it was really hard to just pinpoint who deserved the 3-2-1 because there were so many that could have easily been picked as well on the side
Yeah.
from
Oh,
that
bro,
game.
honestly, like,
Yeah,
just for example, like Tuivasa Sheck, 200 meters, 22
Yep.
runs, 67 post contact meters, 5 tackle breaks. Like
Yep.
we haven't even talked about him the whole game pretty much. I thought he
Yep.
was amazing, and he's just
Yeah, he was.
absolutely
Yeah.
he's thriving on that right wing, and it's so good to see. After last year, he was a bit a bit iffy in the centres, but he's found
Yep.
a spot. Aaron Clark, who obviously makes an appearance every week. He had 170 meters for 19 runs, and he had about 35 tackles or something
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, there was plenty of other guys, and I had Jackson Ford written down as well. I thought he is so good off the bench, and I'm loving to see it.
Yeah.
So, um, I thought just because it's a bye week, John, and we
Yeah.
did it in the first Warriors bye week, we could do a little. It's about a mid-season review, I suppose. Now, just a
Yeah.
real quick sort of round the traps. Got a few MVP, most improved player, most surprising, best back, and best forward
Yeah.
for the season so far. So
Yep.
start with best forward. Um, I'm happy to start us off here. I'm going to go,
Yep.
Aaron Clark. Obviously mentioned he's leading the Wally M's.
Yep.
He's just been week in, week out, the most consistent player in the Warriors team. He could probably fit and most surprising as well. And most improved as well. So, yeah, Aaron Clark for me for best forward.
Yep.
You follow me in?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. I've got Jackson Ford. Um, and the only reason why I've got him, there's a reason why I'm saying Jackson Ford rather than Ian Clark, but I'll explain that later. But Jackson Ford, I just think that normally he's not really he's come from the second row, right? And they've given him like a makeshift role in the front row, saying like we need you here, and he's put his hand up and he hasn't questioned. He's just done the job and he's done it well. I love his style. Like it's no nonsense. It's just get the job done. No, he just gets the job done, and he takes a lot of carries as well. Like he's always putting his hand up to take the carries and stuff. That's why I think and he's got a big engine on him. Like he lasts well. Sometimes I think he plays for like 60 to 80, 70 minutes sometimes, doesn't he? He lasts that long on the field. So knowing that he can play that for that amount of minutes, but also keep the same standard and momentum going, in his play, keep it going, the energy going. That's amazing to do because some forwards just can't do that. They'll just break down, but he just keeps going. So and for having someone like that on your bench or on the field, you give your other forwards a break. They can't do that. So it's honestly, Jackson Ford. I'm giving him my best forward
Nice.
at the moment for at the halfway mark of the NRL season so far.
I rate that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're singing his praises every week. Well
Yep.
deserved.
Yep.
Best back, I've gone with Metcalf. He's definitely
Yep.
seems to have taken this team, taken it by two hands, and
Yep.
he's right in the ball. I think he's a top try scorer, or if not, he's right up there. Sort of taken a lot of the I think it took him a wee while to sort of really find his feet, but he seems to be in a really good place at the moment.
Yep.
And he just every week is getting better and better. So yeah, Luke
Yeah.
Metcalf for my best back.
Um, for me, it was a toss up between Metcalf and CNK. I just thought, he's just what he's done at the back, and I gave it to Metcalf too because we're winning a lot of games on the back of his brilliance. I mean, yes, defense as well. For the whole team, it's a whole team effort. It's a big team effort. But as I alluded to before earlier, Metcalf has just grown every game. He continues to grow, and he's taken his game to another level where he's actually being able to manage the team on the field, which is what a halfback does, and also defend. He's good. He's good in defense, and he's good in his attack. Is brilliant. I mean, he could probably improve his kicking game a little bit more, as we all know. His conversion rate isn't the greatest, but it's nothing to be worried about. It's nothing to be worried about at the moment. But other than that, that's the only sort of criticism I have of Luke Metcalf at the moment. So there's a reason why he's leading the Dally M's at the moment. So yeah, Luke Metcalf's best back for me.
Nice man. We'll go most surprising next up. Um,
Yep.
I'm gonna go with Leka Hasima. I think
Yep.
I loved what I saw from him when he played last year, but he's really brought that to the next level. He's still only 19 years old, but he's
Yep.
playing like he's been around for so long. He had I don't know if you saw that post-match interview with Daryl Halligan on the weekend, but
Yeah, I did. I did.
you really realise how young he is when you see that. And I mean, Halligan hardly helped him with. I wish I'd written down like the question that he asked him because Halligan was just he didn't know what to say. He was just like, "Oh, you're on a try scoring streak. How's that going for you?" or something
Yeah,
like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, and I mean, you can see the boys in the background all cracking up. Like see,
yeah,
obviously he's found his, like, he just seems like he's in a really good place, loving his footy. But
yeah,
yeah, the level he's got to so far this season has been so good. Didn't expect to see him as a regular. Like I thought that
yeah,
he might still be playing New South Wales Cup coming in when we've got injuries and all that. But
yeah,
like I mean, he started about 5 or 6 games now, and nobody's questioning that. So yeah, he's definitely been the most surprising for me this season.
yeah. I'm the same with you. I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. I've got Helis as well for the same exact reasons you're saying. I did see the interview. You could tell he's very nervous. He obviously wasn't listening to old Richard Beck on media day, when they or when they had media training. But no, I mean media training or not, sometimes I can understand being in front of a camera can be nerve wracking. Can be really
Yeah,
nerve wracking, and it didn't help that his teammates were giving him a little stick behind him.
yeah.
But yeah. But the thing is that it's an interview where people won't look at him and just give him crap about it. They'll just laugh, and it'll be like a
Oh
fun laugh,
no, no.
And yeah, it'll be it's all good, and it's all good and stuff, and it's and just shows the innocence of him as well. The innocence of Helasim as well. But like you said, a player that we all knew that was up and coming, but the rise that he's come from last season to now, where he was sort of just showing glimpses of what he could do towards the end of last season, and then now coming on the bench, and then all of a sudden injected into the starting lineup because he's been playing really well. He deserves it. And um, would he be up for Rookie of the Year? I know he played a couple of games last year, but I've been hearing noise that he's still eligible for Rookie of the Year because of the lack of games he played last season. I don't know
Yeah,
if that's true or not. Yeah, not
I'm
sure.
pretty sure. Yeah, there is an amount of games, but I feel like it's about 6 or 7. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that he is, but
Yeah.
don't quote me on that.
Well, if he is, then
He up
I'm pretty
there.
sure he's right up there. I'm pretty right up there for Rookie
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
Year. If he's eligible for that. But
yeah. With
yeah,
Jamale
for me, mate.
probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Most improved up next. You've kind of said it before with Jackson Ford. He's my
yep,
my selection for most improved. I didn't even have him in my 17 at the start of the season. But now,
yep,
yeah, there's no way that you could not pick him. He's just sort of rediscovered that form from 2023. Obviously playing in the middle now, but he just he's up there and fronts up against some of the biggest boys in the comp. So love what I've seen from him, and I'm happy to eat my words on that one. So yeah, Jackson
yep,
Ford most improved for me. Who you got?
yep. RTS actually. We all know
Yeah,
he's a
I like that.
superstar and everything. Yep, we all know he's a superstar, and I think that he's had a few injuries and stuff, and it's taken him a while just to come back into his own. But well, like you were saying before, there was not really a lot of mention about him, but he did a lot of work on on the game against the Sharks and the previous game as well. We scored some tries there, and I think he's just starting to come back to his best. And yeah, I think he's starting to come back to his best. So I just believe that every game he's improving, getting back to a place where we know he can be so dynamic and so devastating and so dangerous. And I think that's why I'm giving him my most improved, because he wasn't in the best of form that we know, we know because we know we have a high standard of him, and he probably has a high standard of himself, and he's starting to come back to that. So yeah, most improved for me would be RTS.
Yeah, I love that, bro. And I think, like
Yeah,
I sort of mentioned it before, like I think a lot of it's been moving from the centre out to the wing again. I think
yeah,
at centre he just didn't have the room to sort of move around, and but he just looks so good. He's running for about 200 meters a game at the moment, and he looks so hard to tackle. Just like he looks so
yeah,
slippery, and yeah, I'm loving what I'm seeing from him. So it's a great shout.
yep,
Um, Now to the MVP title.
yep,
Um, I gave it to when we first did it. I gave it to Aaron Clark, and I'm going to give it to Aaron Clark still. I think he's
yeah,
I've absolutely just blown away by how good he's been. I sort of mentioned it as him being my best forward, but I think he's been huge, the most consistent player this season.
yep,
He's running for about 160, 170 meters a game consistently. 40, 45, 50 tackles a game, just putting up huge stats, and off not huge minutes. He only played about 50 minutes on the weekend, and still managed to get 170 run meters. So, and he got that offload to Metcalf to set up that try. So there's so many elements of his game, and we're seeing more of it sort of develop as the season goes on. So
Yep.
he's my MVP for the season so far.
Yep. Aaron Clark as well. That's the reason why I didn't have him as best forward. Just thought,
Yeah.
so I was, yeah, that's why I didn't have him as best forward because he was my MVP. Same reasons. Just been his buy of the season is, and that's been echoed again, not just with us, but not just Warriors fans as well, but other, rugby league personalities just saying Aaron Clark, he's definitely the buy of the season, and he's just, again, you took the words out of my mouth, and everything that you're saying is just so the quality that he is of a player and what he's doing on the field, he makes a difference. When he's on the field, he makes a difference for our forward pack and just the team in general. And the drive that he gets, the drive that he gets, and the momentum that he brings with him is laying a platform for our backs to do something. Like for Luke Metcalf to do something. So it's just awesome. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm definitely glad that he's come to the Warriors, come back to the Warriors. So MVP for at the halfway stage of the 2025 Premiership. Aaron Clark.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and we'll see if we see him at the official Wally M ceremony end of the year.
Yep.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see him, Deli M lock of the year. I sort of didn't really catch up with where he was going, but there's not a lock on the game I can think of that would consistently been scoring
Nah.
points like he
I
is.
mean,
I feel
not
like
not even us.
sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the thing like like Isaiah Yo and those sort of players, like not even
Yeah.
them. And I feel like there's probably been games where he should have got points and maybe didn't, like because
Yeah.
Deli M sometimes they'll go a bit more flashy, but yeah, I mean just the hard work he puts in. So it'd be cool to see him get rewarded for just
Yep.
a breakthrough season. Um,
Awesome, man.
do you want to do
Awesome.
some tips? No Warriors game to look forward to this weekend, but there's 5 games on.
Yeah. Yep. Before we go into the tips, mate, I just wanted to ask you give you a couple of minutes just to talk about Kurt Capewell.
Oh yeah, of
The
course.
news today that he had made the State of Origin Queensland team. He'd been recalled. Yesterday there was some reports going around that he didn't jump on the plane back to New Zealand with his other Warriors teammates. So that was a big sign that obviously he was going to be picked. And honestly, I couldn't be more happier for Capewell. I think he deserves it. His form, club form of late has been that's what got him back selected for Queensland because he's been playing in centres and he's been putting a mammoth effort and the fact that he can play second row as well, which is his main position, but also can play centre. He's going to be he's a handy person to have on your side, and I'm glad that he's made it back in because I actually thought he would have made the first Origin game, and that's not being me being biased. I just thought he earned his right to be there. He was he was in there last year. But Queensland got sort of demolished in that first game. New South Wales were all over them. New South Wales looked very strong, to be honest. I'm a Queensland supporter. New South Wales looked really strong. But the other thing with this one is a big news in terms of Queensland because they're the only ones that have named their team at the moment. Is that Daly Cherry
New South
Evans?
Wales just named the team.
Oh, did they? Oh, okay. Didn't see
Yeah,
that.
just like
Yeah. So
10 minutes. Oh, like 10 minutes before we recorded. Yeah, I saw it
Oh,
come up.
okay. That's why I didn't see it. I was, putting the baby down, so didn't see that. But anyway, well, yeah,
Priorities,
don't worry
bro.
about that. Yeah, yeah. But I'm sure they got a strong team there. But yeah, no, for me, Daly Cherry Evans gone 4 years, being the captain as well. So the Eden's in. But anyway, we're not talking about them. We're talking about Capewell. How awesome is it to see Capewell being rewarded for his form?
Yeah, bro. Awesome. Yeah, well deserved. Um, really brings a bit of utility. I think he's proven this season. I sort of said before, like when Webster's first sort of started playing him in the centres, I was like, what are you doing? There's enough outside back depth that we can afford to sort of like get someone else in there. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean he steps up and does it. Obviously not the fastest centre around, but he's fast enough. And like solid defensively, and just cool to see him get acknowledged. I don't know if you saw the video on the Warriors social media today, but they had a video of
yeah,
Andrew Webster saying, boys, Capes playing with Queensland, and I think it was Chance next to him, and he's like shaking
yeah,
him, like and you heard the dressing room erupt. So obviously they obviously like they love him, and the team and the club. And Webster was like, oh, I hope you have a good game, a man of the match and a losing side or something like
Yeah, I also
that.
heard that. I also heard that.
love
Yeah.
love a bit of banter like that. That just sums up the whole state of origin rivalry very well. But yeah, well deserved. I genuinely thought he would have been in the first game. I think that with his form, there was a few pretty weird selections in that game. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Obviously, it's game two's in New South Wales, so in Sydney. So
Oh,
the
Perth.
Blues should the oh yeah, it's in Perth. Sorry, yeah.
Mm, Perth.
But I imagine the Blues will get the job done. But they seem to be pretty good at stuffing things up when they're in the situation. And historically,
Yeah.
as a Blues fan myself, so I've been used to that. So, but yeah, the Cherry Evans one's an interesting one. It'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see how it all plays out. See, Ezra Mam's been called in as sort of like backup halves cover as well, just to sort of rub some salt into the wound. So I'm sure there'll be a few
Yeah.
salty Queensland fans about that. But yeah, from
Yeah.
watching game one, they needed they need to make all the changes they can because they were pretty atrocious, bro. Like
Yeah.
I know you're a Queensland fan, but you got to admit they were pretty horrendous in that first
Oh,
game
they
and should have
were
probably lost.
embarrassing. It was
Should have
embarrassing.
lost by
It was
40.
embarrassing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was embarrassing. But yeah. But anyway, mate. Look, as you said, there's no game for the Warriors this week. There's actually a lot of buys this weekend coming up. So there's only a handful of games. So you want to take us through the games, mate, and then we'll wrap it up from there.
sounds good, man. Yeah, no, just 5 games on. Sharks Dragons first up on Thursday night. Sharks can they back up from that demolishing at the hands of the Warriors?
I think so because obviously they don't have any Origin players, do they? So they don't have any Origin players, so no one's going to be out. But neither I don't think the Dragons. I think they've got Valentine Holmes as the only
Holmes, yeah.
Origin player there. So I think I'll still give it to the Sharks. Dragons were atrocious on the weekend. I think they got beaten by a good or 50 points by the Dolphins. So
Dolphins.
yeah, I'll give it to the Sharks. Not because
Yeah.
I think they're great or anything, just because I think the Dragons are just pathetic at the moment. So yeah,
Dragons are real mud. Yeah, I can't
yeah,
pick the Dragons at the moment, especially at Shark
yeah.
Park. The Sharks should be good enough.
Yeah.
Titans, Seagulls up next. Yeah, that's
Cherry Evans will be playing for Manly, I'm assuming, in this game.
yeah,
So
exactly. It's a big in.
yeah,
Big
yeah,
in.
I'll give it to the Seagulls for me, mate.
Seagulls. Oh, yeah, Titans a bit without Tino and Mofuruika, so yeah, I'll go Seagulls as well.
Yeah,
Knights, Roosters. Roosters obviously heaps of players out, but last time they they played on an Origin round, they beat the Sharks by 30 points. So they got Crichton out, Toia,
Ponga's out. Ponga will be out as well. So
Pong will be out for the Knights. Yeah,
yeah,
I like the Roosters here.
me too. I'll go Roosters, mate. I don't think the Knights have got it in them, to be honest.
Cowboys, Dolphins. Cowboys have obviously always got a few Origin players out, and the Dolphins,
Yep.
yeah, coming off that hot win against the Dragons last week. I like the Dolphins here.
Yeah, me too. I like Dolphins.
And Rabbitohs Dogs to finish it off. Can the Rabbitohs do the Warriors a favour and bring the Dogs down so we go to first equal with the Raiders?
Well, I was hoping that the Rabbitohs would take the Raiders down and give us a hand there, but that didn't happen.
It looked alright.
So
First
but
half.
I'm going to pick them again just against the Bulldogs. Again in the hope that it gives us better placing on the ladder. So I'll go Rabbitohs.
That's pro. I'll go Dogs just to mix it up. I think we've got the same team for all the other 4 games. So
Yeah.
that's tipping for round 15.
All right. Well, look, we've been nearly going on an hour now, so it's been some good chat there, mate. Brilliant chat. There's been a lot to talk about though. This Warriors game, we can go on all night about about that game. How honestly, it's one of the best performances I've seen when the Warriors play in a long time. I'm talking years here. I'm talking years. So brilliant performance from the Warriors. But we'll wrap it up there. No game of the weekend. So just thanks everyone for listening in, tuning in to us. We are loving the support. The support keeps on growing for Couch Warriors on all the platforms: TikTok, Facebook. If you don't know us on Facebook, you will now with Richard's questions on Infinite Blake, but YouTube, etc. We're loving it. So, but if you're listening in or you're watching us and you haven't subscribed, please do us a favor and subscribe, give us a comment. We'll respond. And same on TikTok, follow us, or Instagram, follow us. Facebook, follow us. We know and give us a like and a comment, and we'll respond to you. But you can catch us on all the platforms and Spotify as well, right? And Apple. Is that right?
Yeah, all the usual podcast platforms.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, everyone, for listening in. Up the wires, and may the wire train continue.
We've got the fifth.